A very good morning to one and all present here. I, Professor Shivshakti Nanda, feel privileged to extend to all the honorable dignitaries, learned delegates, executive members, society officials, deans, directors, senior faculties, and industrialists present here. A very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Dr. Moonje Institute of Management and Computer Studies and Association of Indian Management Schools, who has clubbed all of us for the Western Region Deans and Directors Roundtable Conference on leading innovations in management education, how to make it happen. On this auspicious occasion, as a tribute to Ma Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, and to invoke blessing of God, I request dignitaries to come forth for lamp lighting and Saraswati Puja. I would like to call Dr. R. Nandagopal sir, Dr. G.K. Shirude sir, Professor Dr. Uday Salunkhe sir, Apurva Palkar ma'am, Mr. Bhushan Patwardhan sir, Commander Santosh Kulkarni sir, Dr. V. Kovachelvan sir, Dilip Pelgaonkar sir, and Preeti Kulkarni ma'am. I request dignitaries to take their seats on the dais. Thank you all. To keep equipped with leading innovations in management, information, abilities, and learning agility, upscaling, upgrading, and updating, and to embrace change is now imperative in management education. In this devastatingly progressive era, the field of management has still continued to treasure its sheer significance consistently. Every year, we are seeing change of trends in almost all sectors, and the case is no different in the field of management education. Surely, COVID 19 has orchestrated a relook of the Mission 2025 among business schools. Nevertheless, business schools are training their students to drive technological innovations as a means to be future ready. In fact, in such, the even management schools are accommodating certain parts of advanced learning within their curriculum. On this opportune, we are honored to have amidst us Dr. R. Nandagopal Sir, President AIMS and Director General Sri Saraswathi Thyagaraja College, Pollachi, Professor Dr. G.K. Shirude Sir, Regional Vice President AIMS and Vice Chancellor Sri Balaji University, Pune, Professor Dr. Uday Salunkhe Sir, Past President AIMS and Group Director WeSchool, Mumbai, Dr. Apurva Palkar Ma'am, Past President AIMS and Vice Chancellor Maharashtra State Skills University Mumbai, Mr. Bhushan Patwardhan Sir, Vice President and Plant Head at NSL Driveline System Limited, Nashik, Commander Santosh Kulkarni Sir, Mahindra Leadership University, Nashik, Dr. V. Kovai Chelvan Sir, Director, TVS Institute of Quality and Leadership, TVS Motor Company Limited, Hosur, Dr. Dilip Belgaonkar Sir, General Secretary, Central Hindu Military Education Society, Nashik, and Dr. Preeti Kulkarni Ma'am, Director, Dr. Moonje Institute of Management and Computer Studies, Nashik. I would now like to call upon our flagship of knowledge, Dr. Preeti Kulkarni Ma'am, Director, DMI, for the preamble.
After Saraswathi Vandana, I think that according to our own Indian knowledge system, we should worship Sri Ganesha. So, Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Gurunayastu. So, with this, I would like to give my prayers, offer my prayers to Lord Ganesha. Agratas Chaturo Veda, Krishnatam Sasharam Dhanu, Idam Brahmam, Idam Kshatram, Shapadapi Sharadati. With this line, which is pretty difficult to express in English, that we have knowledge of wisdom and power of knowledge. So, power of knowledge and knowledge of power is bit coined in the same virtue or same Sanskrit words that we have both in our hands. CHME society is the society which is offering its services to the society at large by virtue of its military education since pre-British era. We are pre-independence, we were established, and our philanthropist, Dr. Balakrishna Shivaram Moonje, who was an ophthalmologist, started this institution with a very different vision by providing military education to the new youths of independent India. On the same virtue and value systems, Dr. Moonje Institute has started in the year 2002. We are a pretty young institution compared to others, but we are working on the philosophy and values and the big value system and ecosystem which our philanthropists laid in front of us. By virtue of that, we offer 3 different courses in management stream, that is MBA, MCA, and PhD. We have a very strong ecosystem with industrial connect that every week we carry industry samvad where we call upon various big institutions and their heads for having interaction with our students. DMI is working hard to get this entire Uttar Maharashtra chapter together for this very conference. When we were asked, or rather selected, I'll say, with the permission of President for this conference, we found ourselves very lucky and blessed because this institution is working for the society and nation building as a basic fundamental of it. So when we got this opportunity to go for this conference, we accepted it, and AIMS is really supporting in by all means to make this conference happen here in Nashik. We expect from this conference that in Marathi or in Sanskrit there is a word called as a manthan. We expect that all stakeholders and this knowledgeable people who are very much in this field from years together should come up with another need of how to make it happen. Because if you look at the title, there are many people, they know like innovation is needed for society, it is needed for benefit of grassroots level people, but how to make it happen is the subject of this very conference. On behalf of Dr. Moonje Institute of Management and Computer Studies and CHME Society and AIMS, we welcome you all for this August gathering over here, and we expect many more to come through the discussion, question answer sessions, and interaction with each other. Thank you so much, AIMS, for giving us this opportunity to go forward.
Thank you, ma'am. I feel elated to introduce to you all the eminent personalities in person. We have with us Dr. R. Nandagopal sir. Sir is president at AIMS and and Director General, Sree Saraswathi Thyagaraja College, Pollachi. Sir has been serving as educationalist at various institutes and has been devoting his life for this academic field. It's an indeed pleasure to have you, sir. I request Dr. Dilip Pelgaonkar, sir, to felicitate Dr. R. Nandagopal, sir. To make small change to our actions, our society has adopted a new resolution to reduce carbon footprint by planting tree at every event happening at the campus at the hands of the guests. The guests are thus awarded with green certificate by our society. We also have with us Professor Dr. G.K. Shirude, sir. Sir is Regional Vice President AIMS and Vice Chancellor, Sri Balaji University, Pune. Sir has a vast experience of about 38 years in academics. I would like to request Mr. Hemant Deshpande, sir, Secretary, CHMA Society, Nashik Division, to felicitate Dr. G.K. Shirude, sir. Thank you. We also have with us Professor Dr. Uday, sir. Sir is past President AIMS and Group Director WeSchool, Mumbai, and has a vast experience of 20 years in the field of education. I would like to request Mr. Rahul Vaidya, sir, Chairman DMIMCS, to felicitate Professor Dr. Uday, sir. We have amidst us Mr. Bhushan Patwardhan, sir. Sir is Vice President and Plant Head at MSL Driveline Systems Limited, Nashik. Sir has been working towards various functions like production, tool room designing, industrial engineering, capital purchase, information technology, etc. Sir has served as management representative for quality management systems for more than 20 years and has also shouldered a pivotal responsibility of setting up a completely new plant at Pithampur, Indore. I would like to request Dr. G.K. Shirude, sir, to felicitate Mr. Bhushan Patwardhan, sir. We have amidst us Commander Santosh Kulkarni, sir, Mahindra Leadership University, Nashik. He is a veteran who has served Indian Navy for 25 years and then has joined Mahindra and Mahindra Limited. He presently heads administration for Mahindra's premier training campus Bodh Vriksha at Nashik, which houses the Mahindra Leadership University and Mahindra Institute of Quality. I request Dr. Nandagopal, sir, to felicitate Commander Santosh Kulkarni, sir. We also have amongst us Dr. V. Kovachellu, sir. Sir is director at TVS Institute for Quality and Leadership, TVS Motor Company Limited, Hosur. Sir has devoted 38 years of his life at TVS Motors Company Limited at various positions. I would now like to request Dr. Uday Salunkhe sir to felicitate Dr. V. Kovachendu sir. Thank you. I would now like to request Dr. Dilip Belgaonkar sir, General Secretary and Torchbearer of CHMA Society, to address the audience.
Good morning, one and all. Respected dignitaries, office bearers, guests on dais, respected directors of Management Institute all over India, and office bearers of Central Intermediate Education Society, other invitees and students. It is really a great honor for Central Hindu Military Education Society and Dr. Moonje Management Institute to be a host of this roundtable conference. We all know that India is having a long tradition of management thinkers. And not only thinkers, but those have executed, implemented their management thoughts in their karmas, and it is proved successful. Though we are following some foreign thinkers, philosophers in management, that we should not forget that India is having a long legacy in management thinking. Central Hindu Military Education Society is known or well known as Bhosla. It's a pioneer institute in military education. Dharmavir Dr. Balkrishna Shivram Moonje was the founder of this institution. He was a freedom fighter, great visionary, because you can think of his vision. Just example that in 1935, he has started this institute in 165 acres of land. What kind of vision is that? From the first year of Bhosla Military School, which was the pioneer school in India, pre-independence in military education, he has started military training course for the girls or women. That what kind of vision this founder is having. So many social reforms also he has made. He has done a lot of work for mother country, India. So we are feeling great proud about Dr. Moonje, and we have started this management in the institute in the name of Dr. Moonje. Central Hindu Military Education Society has given 500 plus officers to the armed forces. It's my pleasure to announce here that society is working now in two divisions, Nashik division and Nagpur division. Nashik division, we are running so many units or so many institutes that we have Bhosla Military School as a pioneer military school, then Bhosla Military College, Dr. Moonje Management Institute. Then in this campus, we have a CBSE school, State Board, Marathi medium and English medium schools. We have a flagship institute of adventure, that is Bhosla Adventure Foundation. We have a Bhosla Nursing Institute, and so on. In Nagpur division, we are running military school up to 12th. And we are just completed the 150th birth anniversary of our founder, Dr. B.S. Moonje. 12th December, we had a function in our premises to salute our founder. And at that time, we have announced that we are going to start India training program in Arunachal Pradesh. Also, in the pipeline, we have so many projects to start military education or India training program in Assam, in Chhattisgarh, in Gujarat, and in MP also. So, that institute is trying to take off from only state of Maharashtra to the other states of India. And today is the, I think, great occasion for us when I'm thinking in the pursuit or purview of Indian ethos. All management directors came here in the institute, which I call them as the Chanakyas. All these are Chanakyas of India. And the stalwarts sitting on the dais are the Chanakyas. So we have a legacy of management which is given a proper direction to the management by the Chanakya. Swami Ramdas Swami, then Shivaji Maharaj. So many people are there. Those are given the so many things which can be implemented nowadays also in our management. And I think AIMS is a very essential and timely organization which has started their work before 3 decades. Am I right, sir? Before 30 years, there was a crop of or cash crop of management institute in the India. But every educational institute was thinking in isolation that my institute, my management institute, and development of my management institute only. But there was a need of integrated approach toward the upliftment of Indian management, learning, teaching atmosphere, or Indian management, quality of Indian management, education. So this initiated this particular thing and become a driving force for integrated efforts towards the enhancement of management education in India. So I said it's a great honor for me to be a host of this kind of roundtable conference, which is also will be devoted for the theme of innovation in management education, management learning, management teaching, and no doubt experiments and practice in management. So really, I'm thankful to the office bearers of this institution, hence that they have given an opportunity to CHME Society, Dr. Moonje Management Institute, to be a host of this roundtable conference, which will be instrumental for the development in management education of India. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your precious words. I would now like to call upon Dr. R. Nandagopal, sir, to give us insights about AIM as an organization.
Distinguished guests on the dais and off the dais, very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Association Indian Management Schools, I am very happy to welcome all of you for this Western Regional Roundtable Conference of Directors and Deans. And also I thank the Moonje Institute of Management and Computer Applications for giving the opportunity to be part of this event. Especially the Secretary General and the Director of the Institute took a lot of initiative along with our Regional Vice President. And today we have a discussion on the innovation in management education. We have 4 panel speakers, 2 academia and 2 from industry, going to highlight the kind of innovation which is taking place in industry and also the management education and how things are changing last few years, especially after the corona effect. A lot of things have changed now. I'm very happy that Association of Indian Management Schools is hosting this event. Let me introduce Association of Indian Management Schools. In 1988, when there was only 200 business schools, some of the senior management education leaders met at IIM Bangalore and they wanted to have a consortium of business schools to represent the management education to the policy makers and also to work together for the development of management education. That is how in 1988, in the month of August, the Association of Indian Management School was formed. Today, I am very happy and proud to say that we are the second largest management association in the world next to WCSB. We have more than 750 members and all our members are very active. See, we have more than 15 chapters all over the country under the 4 regions in South, North, East and West, and we have chapters at the each state level, and our members are very active at regional and also the chapter level. The AIMS advocates the policies of this management education and also represents the issues concerned with the management education. Few years back, when we had a problem of admissions, the AIMS took up the issue and went to the court. And today we fought and we got 4 important tests as admission criteria along with the ATMA. So that is where we take the causes of the management education to the government and also represent the common issues faced by the management business schools. Apart from the advocacy role, we more focus on the development of the faculty. AIMS continues to provide the faculty development schemes under the research schemes, and we provide rupees 1 lakh financial assistance for the research faculty members who take up the research projects. And of course, we also continuously encourage the management institution to conduct workshops, seminars, and faculty development programs. And every year we give more than 25 to 30 lakhs of funding for the management institutions. And apart from that, we also conduct Atma. I think the entrances is very popular in Maharashtra, state of Maharashtra. And state of Maharashtra also recognized Atma as one of the entrances for the admission of the MBA and PGDM program in the state of Maharashtra. So our Atma examination is also very popular and we conduct 4 times in a year. Apart from that, this year we have initiated a new activities. That is, one is called sharing of experiences by the academic faculty members, and this program is getting very popular, and also inspiring the young leaders. These are 2 activities. Every week we try to have a session on the relevant topics for the development of the faculty members and of the student community. I request all the members who are here to actively participate and strengthen the management education movement in this country. Once again, I thank the Moonje Institute for giving the opportunity for AIMS and also for us to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for briefing us about the largest networking body of WeSchools. We are very much happy to have with us Dr. Apurva Palkar ma'am. Ma'am is past President AIMS and Vice Chancellor Maharashtra State Skill University, Mumbai. Ma'am has been working as executive member, board member, and member at advisory committee at number of organizations. It is an honor to have you with us, ma'am. I would like to request Dr. Dilip Pelgaonkar sir to felicitate Dr. Apurva Palkar ma'am. Thank you. I would now like to request Dr. G.K. Shirude sir to enlighten us about today's topic of the conference, Leading Innovations in Management Education, how to make it happen.
Good morning to one and all. Namo Nama, Namaste, Vadakkam. Dignitaries on the dais, of the dais, past president of AIMS, executive board members, the deans, directors, head of the departments, principals representing from different colleges and institutions. I will directly open the topic because I am supposed to just give you a path ahead as far as the leading innovations in management and how to execute it, how one should make it possible. It is acknowledged by all the hands that education in innovation and innovations in education is the currency as far as 21st century is concerned. Whenever we use the word innovations, it is not the buzzword. It has in-depth as well as the widening positive effects for the growth and development of the economy. Innovations in respect of not only developing the curriculum as expected by the organizations, but it is also related with a design thinking, a creative thinking, and thereby making its own plan, may be suitable for a region, may be suitable for the concerned environment as far as sustainability aspect is concerned. Now, whenever we say that the innovations are taking place, the innovations in respect of ideas, in respect of thought process, in respect of developing the different type of the thought which will enlighten and which will show a path to the others in a such a way that where constructive changes will take place. And whenever I use the word constructive changes, this change is inevitable, but at the same time, all the changes are not the welcoming changes, but changes which increases the efficiency and productivity in all respect. One has to accept it. And there the first step of innovation will starts. So here, the accepting the changes, knowing the changes, observing the changes, and thereby thinking ahead towards how it is going to be possible in my institution, in my university, and in my particular area. This is how the way forward which takes place. I said the accepting changes, knowing changes, it requires a progressive mindset. And whenever I say that the progressive mindset is required, basically 3 points which I would like to insist. One is a creative mindset which is essential. Along with that, the synthesizing mindset that also takes place a crucial role in that particular respect. And the most important that is related with a disciplinary mindset. Without sustained efforts, it is not going to be possible to implement the innovative ideas and innovative efforts. Today's innovation may not be having high respect in coming future. In coming future, different ideas will come, different strategy will come. Technological changes are taking very rapidly. Emerging technology has taken its own place. Many times we are using the word the artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, and so many things which we are using. But the question related with how it is going to be implemented. And therefore, today, whatever we are going to discuss, we are going to hear, whatever we are going to dispose, that is related with leading innovations, knowing and leading, and then how it can be made possible to run the institutions, to run the overall organizations. Innovation itself required, as I have said, there is different mindsets. But at the same time, the quality and excellence plays a sine qua non position in management education. Whenever I say that the quality and I am using the word excellence, there is no absolute parameter for that. These are relative terms, but initiatives has to be taken from the leaders. And the leadership initiative take place only when you are having certain seeds in your mind which is going to be sown with the help of opening your creative eyes. And then it is going to be possible. The question is very simple now. We all are working at different levels in the management education. We are also making certain efforts. But the efforts that will recognize its own standing only when it will show a light to the others. And whenever it shows light to the others, it means that experiment is a successful experiment. So therefore, innovation should be in respect of participating and experiential learning, close integration and linkage with industries, need for innovations in respect of teaching learning process. Research also occupies a significant position. Creative thinking and problem solving that has its own stand in respect of the process of management education is concerned. And very frequently, the word which is used, a design thinking. So here, design thinking requires a lot of a straightforward mindset where experience can be made on itself and then only execute it for the others. Now the question is how it is going to be happening. So I suggest 5 C's as far as how to execute, how it can be happening. 5 C's consist with first collaboration. We have to collaborate with each other. We have to learn from each other. And one should not have any ego issue related with accepting the good changes. So collaborative attitude is essential. Cooperation is the another C. Along with coordination, collaboration, the most important part that is related with creation, co-creation. And when it happens, then and then only some strong, efficient outcome will take place, which will have some long lasting experiences in the management institutions. Along with this, the self-direction that is needed to be taken here, working with purpose and for the purpose that matters more in respect of aiding the organization. And therefore, at the end, what is going to be expected? High performance and the high perfections. When we perform, our entry will towards to perfection. And when we are going to be at the peak as far as the perfection is concerned, then innovation has its own significance in respect of having a new rainbow in the management education. With these few introductory words, I welcome all the dignitaries, particularly from industries, and that too from the industrial organizations, though it is known as the management educations, but they are very close to the industries and therefore they are leading this particular the topic. So once again, a very warm welcome to all, particularly students sitting behind or some of the faculties are there. Lot of learning which we will get it today. This session is a roundtable conference, try to understand. And in roundtable conference, it is expected that the speakers will highlight a certain specific aspect, certain points. They will share their experience. And after that, it is open to the discussion. So you should not feel, don't feel be chicken hearted, I will say. You should have open mind and you can raise any question and don't get afraid if you are having something. Therefore, we insist more on discussion part, contribution part, and even one can also share their own experience, how it is going to be possible to implement the innovations. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your thought-provoking words. As we now move towards actual panel discussion or roundtable conference session, I request dignitaries, a few of you to be there, and some of you can then join the audience now. I request Apurva Palkar ma'am to stay here on the dais, Bhushan Patwardhan sir, Santosh Kulkarni sir, Dr. V. Kovac Chelvan sir, and Dr. Uday sir. I would now like to request Dr. Apurva Palkar ma'am to take the charge of the session.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I was the last speaker to speak today, so I was quite confident that, like a nice student, I will listen to all the biggies, and towards the end, I will try and see if I can add something or just excuse myself by saying that we heard a lot. But nevertheless, I think there's a change of sequence, and Shirude sir feels that I should be the first one to speak today. So maybe I'll request Sunil to kind of help me with the presentation which I've put together. Leading innovations in WeSchools and how to make this happen. I think this is something which is very, very close to everyone's heart sitting here, I feel. And I'm really excited to look at this slide, which always makes me feel that is innovation just a fad, you know. So over a period of time, we have seen a lot of things come and go. Do we really feel that all of us are trying to imbibe what we call it as innovation in a fashion which we call it as a fad? Are we really trying to adapt to it? Having led this space for almost 4 years in Savitribai Phule Pune University, I had opportunity of interacting with close to 350 institutions in Saraswathi Pune University on the innovation space. And there are a lot of learnings. I would say it was a very great learning experience for me to understand how people are adapting to the area of innovations and also to the area, because I was also working in the area of startups and incubation centers. The experiences have not been very encouraging from a lot of these schools in terms of the outcomes. But we'll not go into what it was, but let's try and concentrate more on the current context. Uh, so just to give you an understanding of what is really driving today the innovations worldwide, there are a few things that come to my mind, which is the economic activities, the technological changes, the demographic factors, and the globe which is getting interconnected. And we are very optimistic that by 2025, we will have all the emerging economies which will be driving a lot of industries as far as the innovation is concerned. And India would be one of the very important countries where we will see a lot of economic activity happening, technological changes that are going to be happening, and of course, very positive demographic dividend which stands onto our side and we're connected to the whole globe. And at business schools, where we are the crafters of the human capital for tomorrow, I think we have a very, very important role to play. So in terms of how do we look at the need to design the 21st century learners, I've put my presentation more from the learning perspective. How do we put student at the center when we think of the innovation? I know we have Mr. Salunkhe who will be speaking from that perspective. They've been a pioneer institute who's been doing a lot of work in innovation space before we even thought of what innovation is in India. So I'm sure we're going to be learning more and more from him. But from the learner's perspective, from the common business school perspective, I feel innovation in education is required for the whole country at large. We are speaking of nation at large, and innovation primarily has been driving the new technologies that we're seeing around us. We're able to share the ideas, and this is what has resulted into globalization. And that is where we feel that we need to move away from what we call it as the rote learning. So this is where this learner-centric approach, which will be really required in times to come. So what is it that the innovation today is requiring? It is requiring the change, which is the mindset change. What I really feel is innovation is nothing but a change in the mindset and the culture of the complete organization. And what is it that we will really want to concentrate on in our academic institutions? I think primarily we will have to concentrate on the complete leadership team that is driving the organization, starting from the trustees of the organization, if it is a private driven organization, to the leaders, to the faculty members, to every person who engages with the business school, which is very, very important. And not to say the least, the external stakeholders that influence the working of a business school is primarily done by the policymakers. And I think we are at a space in India where we're speaking of the new education policy. And in the new education policy, this has formed a very, very significant part of the teaching learning process, not only in the business schools, but also in other faculties that we come across. The next slide. So what is it that we are today looking at? We are looking at a lot of big problems in the education system. So when I say the problems are big in the education system, do we think that innovation is a problem? Then I would say that it is a big opportunity. So if you think that this is the new space that we have to get into, the new education policy, which is talking of a lot of changes in the education system, and innovation will be the driver for the change that we are trying to bring in, I think there's a huge opportunity for everyone sitting in this room to bring about that particular change. Next slide. So as I said, we see a lot of students also in this room. So I think it would be very essential and important for us to be learner-centric. The main focus for innovation would be in the space of how do we dare to experiment and innovate in the new practices. And this is where we want to bring in the culture of innovation, which is learner inspired. Yesterday, I had a small meeting with somebody, and from the engineering space, there was a question that was being asked that we've been speaking about the concept of maybe a Python, we're speaking about the concept of artificial intelligence, and they, in fact, in the MBA syllabus of Pune University also, we have beautiful subjects which are crafted. But in terms of the teaching pedagogies, the aspect of use cases is very, very low. So question which was asked to, so I think they interviewed close to 2,000 faculties in the engineering space to ask them the use cases for AI. They said, use cases? No, but that's not important. The point that everyone wants to drive here, that what we bring into our curriculum and our syllabus, which we think is innovative, needs to have practice component in it. And that is where faculties have to play a very significant role in this change management that we are talking. And this has to be supported by a system. And that system has to recognize this particular change that we are trying to drive in. And there has to be an inner zeal and the risk-taking capabilities of people to adapt to this particular change. We're so tuned to doing things in a very specific manner. For example, the syllabuses that we have, maybe a business management, I'm not talking of the autonomous institutions, but typically the university systems where we are so driven that we need to have only these subjects. These are common subjects and everyone needs to have this common subject. Why? These are common subjects of which has no relevance in your life. Why can't we innovate the way in which we are developing our courses and curriculums? I think that is what is the change that we think that we need to bring in. So it may be important when we're talking of innovation to understand what is the why, what is the how, and what is the what in it. So we need to understand what is our current situation today. How are we going to bring in this change? It's very easy to stand here and make speeches to say that this is how innovation has to be brought about. But it is very important to understand the how, and this how has to be defined by every institution himself or herself, and an organization has to define how that small change is what we're trying to be bringing in. And what is it that we really want to bring in the form of innovation also becomes very, very important. It's important to understand the context in which we are. What is our context today where we are trying to bring in the change? So that becomes really very, very significant. So the context that I'm talking of is the post-pandemic context. The post-pandemic context and higher education, where we got used to working with limited resources. We have started bringing large amount of evidence-based good innovation practices. Students have got used to the fact that I can get the best faculty to be teaching me from Harvard Online or maybe a Khan Academy or an academy or Coursera or whatever. So that is a hook that has come into our system which didn't exist 3 years back. But this is a change where the students have started relating not to a person sitting in the class in front of them, but relating to somebody that they've seen online to teach a specific subject in a specific manner. And this is the context in which we have to look at the innovation in front of us. So it may be important to enhance the students' learning experience in the class is what I feel is very, very significant. I'm just bringing in a report of Gartner, which is talking about this is a report which is in the public domain, which is talking of the pandemic responses and the way in which there is a change in the review process and business improvement that has happened over a period of time. student experience and success is being measured in a different manner. Teaching learning processes have been redefined, which you and I know, and even the students sitting in this room are aware of it. We are making a lot of use of data and analytics today, and the infrastructure that was only confined to this classroom has moved to a digital infrastructure that has become very, very significant. And I think in 2023, these are the factors that we need to think of when we think of innovation. So I think education should ensure inclusive, and so quality education is what I feel is very, very essential. I truly believe that business schools also have to think about lifelong learning opportunities. We've really discounted on a lot of people who have missed the bus and who have really not had an opportunity to take formal education in business space. And I think this is an opportunity that we need as education drivers, leaders. We need to think about this particular space. And we need to be really prepared to think very, very differently as of now. So this is a little text-heavy slide which I did, but I would just try to put in the context on. I'm sure we are trying to driving the innovation-centered investment by collaboration with the industry, which we have been talking of, but the context is now changed. The context 3 years back of industry interaction was very different from the context in which we are speaking now. And we need to probably look at problem-solving attitude and approach of the faculty members, which becomes very, very important. And we need to cultivate a culture of curiosity and innovation within the institution. It is not confined just to students alone, faculties alone, but this curiosity-driven approach has to be there in the DNA of the organization that we represent. The last slide from my side, are we really trying to fit in the innovation in us? I think we need to answer this question, that are we trying to fit into the jigsaw puzzle just because everyone else is doing, I need to do that, is not what the answer to the innovation is. We need to ponder inside to find out what is the change that we really want to drive in with the given context of change around us. I think that's the limit for all of us sitting here. If I can make few of you to think in that direction, I'll be very, very happy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dr. Apurva. We are focused on various aspects, particularly difficulties and opportunities. So welcome the difficulties. Rather, we should say that we have to. Now, we are having the another. Shall I continue, my dear students, student managers? Okay. So we are having the another speakers. Particularly, I invite Honorable Bhushan Patwardhanji. Bhushanji is the Vice President at Mahindra Sona Limited, Driveline Systems Limited. Now, what we expect in the roundtable conference, that the speakers will highlight on the basic points which they want to focus. And then, when the forum is open for the discussion, the speakers will have to answer their questions, their queries, and they can also add more. So now, Bhushanji, first now.
All honorable dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. I have not prepared anything. I have not prepared any PowerPoint, but most of the work is already done by Dr. Shirude from Apurva. Basically, I did not know what was my role. But after sitting here, I found myself odd man out, because I am only having a prefix or title Mr. Otherwise, all were having doctors. And one companion, Commander Kulkarni, and coincidentally, he happens to be associated with Mahindra Group. So our company was also a Mahindra Group company. So I'm representing MSL Driveline System. So let me first introduce you what our company is. We are in the business of making automotive components. most of you must be aware of the tiered system in automotive supply chain. So we are tier one supplier, making drive shafts or popularly known as propeller shafts or carbon shafts, which are used in all rear-wheel drive vehicles. And we supply to almost all OEMs, like Mahindra and Mahindra, of course, who is the biggest customer of us. And besides Mahindra, Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, Volvo Eicher, Swaraj Mazda, I mean, you name it, almost everyone we supply. We also supply to construction equipment manufacturers like JCB, Escorts. We also supply to farm equipment manufacturers like Kubota. So while I was just listening to the honorary speaker's views, I'm frankly telling I did not know what exactly was expected from industry. But let me first clarify that I have been working in automotive chain or in a single company for years. So my views will be very limited to automotive chain, and they sound like more auto specific. I have done some time long back. I have done MMS also, and still whenever I come across students and who come to us for various opportunities, they talk about I have done MBA, I have done MMS in materials management, I have done MBA in HR or marketing. Frankly speaking, industry treat all these things as functions. So it is a purchasing function or materials function or marketing function. What we really manage is not purchasing. What we really manage is not marketing. What we really manage is we manage people. We manage change. We manage quality. We manage productivity. We manage safety. We manage delivery. We manage morale. We manage environment. And that is why we have a very honorable guest from TVS. He is taking care of quality management system. So in old era, people used to call it a quality department or quality control or maybe quality assurance after some time. But basically it is quality management system. So similarly, industry wants people, industry wants new blood who are trained in managing all these aspects of a business. So if somebody wants to lead the company, now most of the students will be completing their courses, and then they'll be either entrepreneurs or they will be policymakers or they will join some companies and try to become leaders. So what we expect is to have this included in the courses. So management of PQC DSM, environment, PQC DSM means whatever I mentioned, productivity, quality, safety, cost, delivery, and morale. So we call it logistics management or marketing management, but it is basically the function. What has to be managed is this. Another point which we are facing in the companies is the workforce model has changed. Earlier, people used to be with companies for years. The sizes were very small. Now, because of competitiveness, because to remain competitive in the market and in the industry, the workforce model has to be structured in such a way that there will be some strength of some permanent employees, some strength of trainees, and this is really to economize the operations. But that is not the limited view. It is not only the limited view of economizing the operation or reducing the employee benefit expenses or employee cost, which is colloquially called as. Basically, we are also creating opportunities for employment. When we take trainees in companies, most of the companies are following this model now, that there is always a combination of trainees at various levels, right from the trainee operators, trainee engineers, trainee managers also. So what we really do is we make them, prepare them for future. Wherever there are some greenfield projects, wherever there are new opportunities, we create employability for these new students who come out of the colleges or institutes. So the issue is when they also are aware that my tenure with this company is going to be very limited, we sometimes, I am not claiming that it happens always, but we sometimes find issues of integrity. So what we expect is in the management courses, if some emphasis or trust is given upon the ethics, the values, and integrity, that will help the person as well as individual benefit as well as the organization's benefit. Somebody has said, person or the educated leader without values can be a very clever devil. So we don't want to create such devils. So I think I'll be answering some questions, but please pardon me if my views are only revolving around auto chain or automotive tier 1 or tier 16. But this is what I would like to represent from industry side. I once again thank you for giving this opportunity and this honor to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bhushan. Have mentioned and pointed out very specific thing what has to be included as far as the education curriculum is concerned and what are the expectations of the industry. After all, whether it is industry or educational institution, the human-centric approach plays a very significant role. And whenever we talk about the human-centric approach, then directly or indirectly, value ethics as the core part in the human life. You have mentioned cost, you have mentioned about the values also. So productivity, efficiency, that is the outcome. We measure it in terms of the volume as well as the value. Even in auto lines also, we find that these things are measured in terms of the values. So customer-centric and human-centric approach plays, even in innovation, that plays a significant role. Now I request we are having a commander, Santosh Kulkarni. Santoshji, please come and highlight on the innovative ideas which you have experienced, which you have implemented, and what we expect as far as the institutional growth is concerned. Please do so.
In fact, it's good. Expectations have been set for me. This is what you're supposed to do. Good. Being a Fauji, you need that direction once in a while. Otherwise, it becomes a little difficult. Distinguished attendees, thank you so much. As a matter of fact, being in the armed forces, being in the Navy for 24 years, I felt quite comfortable with water. But suddenly today, being in the midst of so many academicians, I feel like a fish out of water. Parvatan Saab ne bata diya ki by the way, in case if I interject a little bit of Hindi, is it okay? Yes. Great. Because hota kya hai na, अंग्रेजी फॉरेन लैंग्वेज दिक्कत हो जाती है वहां पे समझा नहीं पाते हैं ढंग से. Also, the problem with Hindi is that being in the armed forces, the Hindi unfortunately gets added with a lot of adjectives which cannot be used. So we have a little fuller. So anyway, good afternoon everybody. First of all, a little response, but not good enough. I think the fresh blood, young blood should respond a little better. Let's try once. Good afternoon. Better. See, फौजी होने के नाते वो एक दिक्कत है. जब तक के response ठीक ना मिले ना, repeat करते रहते हैं. Is it okay in case of a walk? I don't have a mic. Is it over? Comfortable? I have no issues with your recording and all. I'm comfortable.
Sir. Actually, the problem is that if you're having something in your hands, you get restricted. Your hands should be free. That's what happens. Not used to. Not used to giving speeches. That's a problem. Anyway, speaking of innovation, that's actually what comes to the mind. By the way, before I start with that, I would like to hear from the backbenchers. What do you understand by innovation? क्या समझ में आता है? Somebody
I told you, unless I get a response, it's going to create problems. We are going to sit here till the evening, maybe the cows come home, and we are going to continue and trying to answer that question. Innovation. क्या समझ में आता है? I mean, don't give me the spelling. I would like the backbenchers to say something. Actually, they are smart ones. I have realized it, whatever 30, 35 years that I have been dealing with people. Yeah, yes, please.
To make changes.
To make changes. Okay, why do you need changes? Why do you need changes? Check.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. I'm a bit more comfortable. See, every moment that you live, every moment, does it repeat yourself? Yes, no. There is a change happening. If there is a change happening, you are changing, you are evolving, right? For you to evolve, what are you doing? You are innovating, aren't you? There is no process which is there to live life. There is no set specific, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps which have been given, which says that you have to do this and you will live your life through. No. So you are innovating every day. Please understand that. What requires is that you need to understand what the innovation is, what innovation is all about. Bring it about, bring it forth. When can a change happen? When do you think that people will be able to start changing or innovating is when you won't have any binding around. Suppose if I tell you that follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you will do that, right? Guys, march on the parade ground or something, which hota hai aapka training mein. I mean, not military school, you are from the business school. But back in the military school, if you check, everybody undergoes this parade. So you're told exactly how to pull out your hand and do whatever you're supposed to. You do that, fine enough. But you'll do only that. Here, you are allowed to think more, think differently. Now, the moment you're given that freedom, can you think of ideas? Right? So, leave your whatever bindings are there. जो बांधा है आपके से निकालिए, whether it be student or the tutors or parents, anybody. The moment you have bindings, you're going to get stuck. You want to innovate, you want to create ideas, let go. मान लिया फौजी हूं, but I'm telling you, let go. There are limitations, of course, and the best way to do it is, somebody spoke of design thinking. What basically it means is that you need to create, conceptualize different things, and post that, put it into practice. Now, unless and until you put it into practice, experiment, do a pilot sort of a project, you won't come to know whether it's going to work or not. And please understand, majority of the people who have been successful in life have failed many more times than they have succeeded. What it basically tells us that you need to try, and only then will you either fail or succeed, right? Hi, Annie. Yes, no? Are you awake? Good, wonderful. So you understand what I'm trying to come to. You need to, like somebody said, ask questions, be open. Unless and until you do that, it's not going to work. That's primary and the one thing which needs to be looked at. Innovation is there. We are innovating. We are evolving. The focus for it to happen, you need to remove your bindings for it to blossom. That's how that's as far as what I thought of innovation. There are a lot of things which people spoke of, and as I said, that I'm quite limited in my knowledge when it comes to theoretical things. But speaking about my experience, there's just one thing which comes to my mind. When I was in the armed forces, this is it will take about 5 minutes, if that should have, that is okay. 5 minutes. I would like to tell a story. So, speaking of innovation, this happened sometime when we were doing a fleet exercise. Nothing confidential on that. So we were a fleet of ships which were going out doing some exercise. And my ship, about 35-year-old, developed a problem which was basically a leak in the boiler room with water spouting. Imagine a boat or a ship with water. Now that's what we fear. That's what one thing we don't want. Okay. Now we have something called as a naval construction cadre, where naval architects, they are also part of the entire team to design ships. So we had the fleet naval architect also. Assessment happens, all that happens. I was a chief engineer. I'm a marine engineer. So by profession. Now, it so happened that the fleet naval architect also was there, and he had some ideas as to what to do, how to do it, to ensure that the ship is safe. The fleet commander comes and he looks at me and he says, Chief, what do you want to do? I am confident that the ship will sail. I said, yeah, absolutely no issues. Only thing is that I have heard what the naval architect has said, but I would like to do something different. He just looked at me and he says, are you good? Are you confident? You think it will work? I said, give me 6 hours. We did something what was there in the processes plus some additional things because of the peculiar problem which was there. But it worked. I had no guarantee because it was not done before. It worked. And we continued with the exercise. What a commendation also. What I'm trying to bring out is that why did this happen? There is a specialist who was already there in the team who could have and who had definitely given his opinion as to what to be done. But looking at the person who is running that ship, who is the chief engineer, he just says that, okay, I'll go with your what you feel is right. That freedom was given. The moment you give that freedom, naturally you would start thinking aloud differently and might come up with a solution which is quite revolutionary. Allow yourself that. Allow yourself, apart from others, allow yourself first to have that kind of a freedom to start thinking different. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for the time.
Known as a commander and commanded the overall, those who are sitting in this. See, after all, what you have mentioned and what I understood little bit, though not each and everything, but at the same time, that self-discipline and the self-thought that matters more in innovation. Thinking itself creates a new thought. So the journey starts from known to unknown and known to better known. And this is how a particular industry and the industrial organizations march ahead. Now, I request the another speaker, Dr. V. Kovi. It is called as a V. Kovi, and that's what I take this opportunity to say as a Kovi. Now, he is a director, TVS Institute for Quality and Leadership, TVS Motor Company Limited, Bangalore. Sir, please.
Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, the directors, faculty members, students, good afternoon to all of you. So this is based on my journey in the last 25 years in building capacity and capability for management, innovation in management. I think 10 minutes is too short I tried my best to package this so that now we can have further discussion on this. Yeah, next. I think the context for the innovation started with, we had a joint venture with Suzuki for motorcycle, and then we had to become independent and become a global player. Then we were looking at how do we innovate the education, the management itself. Then we adapted 3 basic concepts, which are very Japanese. the total quality management, total productive maintenance, and the lean. I think these are three techniques. I think we use these three techniques for product and process innovation and also continual improvement. One more thing in the industry now today we focus on is continuous improvement. And then to do the innovation and continual improvement, what we need is the talent. I think that's where we focus on building talent for innovation. Next. I think this is a framework. There are three roles in management. So there is a retention management, there is an improvement management, and there is a breakthrough management. I think you may be aware of Professor Shoji Shiba, who was in India for almost 15 years, and with IIM Calcutta, IIT Kanpur, and IIT Madras, they started a PGPX program in Visionary Leaders for Manufacturing. He called it as three eyes of Buddha. I think if you see the right hand side, that is called three eyes of Buddha. One is retention, other one is improvement, third is breakthrough. Same way we had one Professor Shuda, who talked about the lowermost people. Now we used to call them as workers in the shop floor. Now they are called team members. They are also need to manage something, but they manage the retention management and a little bit of improvement. And the middle level, they are supposed to do more of improvement and little bit of retention. And people in the top, they are supposed to do more of breakthrough and little bit of improvement. How do we really create capability and capacity for that? Next. So if you look at now, retention management is about discipline. Whatever we have achieved, how do we retain that? And improvement, how do we keep improving to the next level? Many times what happens now, we don't have retention and we start losing what we have achieved, then we have to improve it again. I think that's like walking on a treadmill to remain where you are, right? So whereas breakthrough is a step change that requires a lot of capacity and capability. I think lack of control is major problem in India. As a country, we are not as disciplined as we should be. Okay, next. So he is the Professor Shoji Shiba, and he developed the improvement or innovation approach. He talks about there are levels of thought and levels of experience. Any problem solving or innovation goes through the level of thinking. Suppose if there is a fire somewhere, we are able to sensing the problem. Sensing is level of thought. Then we go and look at where it is happening. Then we look at how it has happened. Then we look at a countermeasure. Then you look at whether it is happening or not. So it alternates between levels of thoughts and levels of experience. That goes through several steps in solving a problem. So the first one is the proactive approach. The innovation can be very proactive, or it can be reactive, or it can be a control. So the WV model, he calls it as, it can be used for retention, improvement, and the breakthrough. Next. So when I compare this, I look at a metaphor of hospital today. We have very complex diseases. We all went through the coronavirus, and then in the past now birds flu and things like that. There are occupational diseases, lifestyle diseases. And I used to be born and brought up in a village. We used to have a RMP, registered medical practitioner, not even MBBS. So later, then we used to go to MBBS in the nearby town. Suppose today we go to a GP, general medical practitioner. The starting point is MD, right? So GP is a MD, and then they do some check and then send us to the specialist or super specialist, right? And RMP in my village, they used to have only stethoscope and the thermometer, and they may touch the pulse. I think there's only 3 devices they had. If you go to a hospital today, you look at CT scan and ultrasound and the PET scan, full body scan. There are so many sophisticated diagnoses available. Same way, if you look at management, we need specialists, super specialists, and also diagnostics like whatever we have in the hospital. I think today business problems are complex. Next. If you look at the business problems today, it requires the domain. Domain, I call it as a specialist and super specialist in the respective domain. It could be in different disciplines of management or disciplines of the industry domain. If I'm in automotive industry, then I need to have some domain in the automotive industry also. Same if you look at the tools, diagnostics. In the past, we used to make only trial and error solving problem. Then QC tools were used and statistical tools were used. And today, if you look at now, there are very many quantitative techniques. There are language data. I think Professor Shoji Shiba is an expert on language data processing using 5-step discovery process. And then there are machine learning. I think other speakers also talked about machine learning and artificial intelligence. There are many sophisticated. So we need a good amount of the domain, the specialist, super specialist, and equally good amount of diagnostic skills. I think then only we can do innovation, which is of making a big impact to companies and also to the country. I think that's where we found now when we train people on this diagnostics or domain, having few people is not going to make a difference. So we need a critical mass of people, and who also don't do, many times now people get educated, they do one project and they don't pursue the lifelong learning. So we need a continuous learning, lifelong learning. For that now, I found a mechanism called communities of practice. This is a practice, the communities are informally bound together, team of people informally bound together, and they are passionate about something, they keep learning, they keep solving problems, they increase their capacity to solve problems. And there are certain mechanisms required to sustain the COPs in organization in terms of opportunity to learn, apply, and also methods to assess the value of COP, and top management need to listen to them. I think we have applied this in few areas. I'll give you an example. Next. So we made a community of practice for operations research. We started with NITI in Mumbai, then Purdue University in the US. We have now 60 members who are able to make a big impact to the companies. Then we are now, we developed a community with IIT Kharagpur on reliability engineering, and then trust with another master from the GE. He's a master certified person in this one. And we are now, Taguchi method is another engineering optimization. So we are now working with Dr. Taguchi's son, who is living in the US. And then road trip, and I think the Professor Shoji Shiba developed the road trip, which can look at the latent needs of customers using language data and image data. Then the design for Six Sigma. So we are now looking at multiple communities. Next. So with this approach, we are now able to innovate a lot of products across the customer segments. We have a lot of innovation of products. Next. And we also became the number one in quality ahead of even some of the Japanese players. Now, how do we apply this to the management, innovation in management? So the days of RMP, registered medical practitioners, in engineering and management is gone. We need specialists and super specialists. So we need managers of depth, not width. I think just now we were talking about now, we don't just need general subjects, we also need specific. So how do we really have a limited width and then more depth? I think that's what is important. And expertise in application of sophisticated tools for diagnostics. I think that's very important along with the domain. And then third is judicious proportion of exposure to theory and practice. Many times now we teach more of theory. I think ultimately skills or competency comes with the practice. How do we really focus more on practice and tutorial? And partnering with institutions with expertise. You don't have to see, even among the engineering or management school, you may not be an expert in everything. If NITI is good in operations research, you can partner with them. So how do we really, I think this AIMS is a good opportunity across the institutes. How can we look at now people having certain lead in certain domains, can we collaborate? I think that's another one. And a well-planned internship. I think many times practice comes through internship. How do we design an internship? I think last 20 years we have been designing internship with many universities around the world and also in India. I think that's very important. Having a project charter, very clear scope and things like that, and having a manager and a faculty to guide them. And then we define well-defined project to use the domain and the diagnostics. I think that any project must have an opportunity. The need to assess the program outcomes. I think all of you are accredited to MBA. Many times you only assess the course outcomes. You have mechanism to assess the program outcome. Suppose if you have motorcycle with 500 parts, if I say all the parts are meeting the quality requirements, if I assemble the motorcycle should be good. I don't test it and sell it to you, will you buy it? Same way, if you test the course outcomes, and then you sell that product, how can we buy? So how do you really assess the program outcomes? I think this is an opportunity. Internship and the project is an opportunity with well-defined scope and well aligned to the program outcomes. I think that's an opportunity. And align the assessment of the outcome with internship, and then create a community of practice among your students. I think you can have clubs. I think in engineering college, I think I went to the College of Engineering, Pune as a mentor for the IQ program. They have so many clubs. People are hanging around. Students are hanging around. So how can you create some clubs of different disciplines, and then you can create a community of practice? Okay. I think these are some of the suggestions. Best wishes for a journey for innovation in management by the management schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Koi. You have referred 360-degree as far as education and innovation is concerned. N number of the challenges of innovations which you have mentioned. Rather in theory, we always teach all these particular things and make the foundation of the fundamental more clear. But at the same time, whatever you have mentioned, that is related with how we are going to execute it in practice. Particularly, you have mentioned a few points, and I will refer that, particularly capacity building, continuous improvement, building talent, 3 eyes of Buddha. That was the creative innovation and how it is going to be implemented as far as the product development is concerned. And then you have also mentioned that new tools and new equipments, they are always saving the energy. And this particular saving the energy is nothing, but in management education, we always say that the use of resources, particularly man-made and natural resources, optimally. So that optimum use also you have indirectly mentioned. Then the operational research you have touched. Then very specifically and with a good openness as far as the heart is concerned, and there is internship program. And whenever internship is done, the students are expected to make more fit and suitable as far as the employment opportunities are concerned. So the program outcome that is related with the internship. So with this, Dr. Koi, you will have a number of the questions from the people. And now we are having Dr. Uday Salunkhe, who is the group director of WeSchool, Wellington, and the past president of AIMS. He is a design thinker. Rather design, innovations, creation, these are the words very frequently used by WeSchool. And WeSchool is the role model as far as many business plans are concerned. Dr. Uday, please.
Thank you very much. All Arya Chanukyas sitting on the dais, and all Tanrupta Mauryas who are trying to remain awake. It is not easy to listen to speakers after speakers after speakers for last at least about close to 1.5 hours. And I'm sure we also realize that how difficult it is to be a student and listen to everyone. Am I correct, guys? Yeah, they are very having broad smiles. Now I'm sure my fellow speakers have already mentioned quite a bit about innovation from industry perspective and overall Indian and maybe global perspective. We must keep in mind the backdrop when we discuss about this theme. India is already on Global Innovation Index. What is India's rank currently, students? What, 40, right? That's absolutely right. And where were we in 2015? We were 81 to 46 last year to 40. Wonderful. And the Honorable Prime Minister and the entire team and the government of India is trying to look forward to we should be in top 25. And I'm sure this is not going to be kind of, realization of being top 25 unless and until academia joins hands with the government of India or state governments as well. So I'm sure I must compliment our president and the RVP and the local director here that yes, this theme what we've chosen is very appropriate. But the million-dollar question is, are we interested to implement it? It's nice to talk the talk. Are we ready to walk the talk? It's not easy. And I'm saying from the experience, and President Sir, I've just mentioned and complimented for such a wonderful team. And why I'm saying this, at least we have close to about 800 business schools as AIMS members. And we have actually WeSchool AIMS Innovation Award for last more than almost, I'll say, close to 14 years. How many institutions are participating in this competition on an average? Still, last 3-4 years, the numbers have increased substantially. Out of 800, or total about 4,000 business schools in the country. Last year is about kind of 47. Year before that was 46. And prior to that was about 25, 30. There is an improvement. There is an improvement. But is that improvement good enough? The competition is actually killing you, killing the business schools. It's not easy. And keeping in mind what's happened, probably because of COVID, there are pluses, there are minuses. But yes, I'm sure, at least I appreciate this theme. What I'm going to mention, I'm going to come down directly to business school interest point of view. Because already I'm sure my fellow speakers spoke about industry point of view and overall macro view. I'm going to come down to micro. From your day-to-day life point of view, how we should really earn our bread and butter and what are those value creators? Which areas, when you're talking about how to make it happen, which areas probably we should focus on? And some of the areas will be interesting for the students as well, be it second year students, be it first year students, and I'm sure definitely for the directors and the teachers. First and foremost is how are we trying to create value? And I'm getting into incremental value, which I'm sure my earlier speaker did mention, or maybe going for quantum jump. Kaizen, overall TPS sir mentioned about it. And it's not a coincidence. I had an automobile background with Mahindras for almost an overall automobile for 11 years. Sir is hardcore in automobile. In fact, Commander Kulkarni is also automobile point of view, at least Mahindra Leadership University. And here, Patwardhan sir is also from automobile background. It's a maybe sheer coincidence, but already they covered that. So coming down to the first value creator where we should focus on as a business school leader or teacher, or even from students' point of view to learn. First and foremost is teaching and learning aspect. Are we trying to create our own differentiation or USP, unique selling proposition, which you talk about it in the marketplace? Today, when you're talking about curriculum point of view, everybody's talking about tech-driven. I'm sure Apurva ma'am mentioned about Gartner report. Everybody, every student, every faculty who's interested in technology point of view, they look at the Gartner report, Gartner height curve, that which are the products under kind of in the infancy stage, which are at maturity level, which are at decline, and which probably reach that peak. So my request to students also, and I'm sure teachers are very well versed with, please watch out for Gartner's curve in terms of AI point of view, IoTs of the world point of view, AR VR point of view. Have you created even your profile in such a way that it should give you a competitive edge? Looking into other aspects which everybody is talking about, I am sure my fellow colleagues from business school must be watching it very closely. Every industry leader, be it in India or globally, is talking about ESG, environment, societal and governance point of view. Sustainability or sustainable future is the name of the game. Be it Anand Mahindra talking about it or Krish Shankar is talking about it. And if we are nurturing our students from that point of view, or many business schools abroad also talking about green MBA. So from that green MBA point of view, if your profile has something, when you believe that top line and bottom line of the companies are fine, but the lifeline is also very important. From that angle, I'm sure you should really keep in mind. In fact, Ramesh Raskar addressed here in Nashik, he was there with us in Mumbai as well. People like Ramesh is talking about Web 3.0. So Web 3.0 is the name of the game for the future. Still, it is in the pipeline. People are only aware of the cryptocurrency point of view, Bitcoin's point of view, but probably world is going far ahead of that using the blockchain technology and how 3.0 can be leveraged for decentralized processes, decentralized apps. So I'm sure these areas, are we doing something which is far more futuristic, or are we just kind of doing me too? What AICTE has given or what universities are given, and we are happy with that. If that is so, then things are not going to be very easy. If you look at, in fact, we should really, I'm sure my fellow colleagues must be watching out what Wharton is doing here. Wharton has come out very strongly on Wharton Interactive. Where I spent with my team in US just in the month of August, that what Wharton is doing, what Harvard is doing, what MIT is doing, and what other business schools are doing post-COVID. Because of COVID, nobody can travel. But you'll really find Wharton Interactive is focusing more on gamification, more on simulation, because they feel the engagement factor for the students. I'm sure your generation students Gen Millennium, it's not easy to keep you engaged. It is not easy for teachers even. So you should watch out what Wharton is doing. I'm sure Harvard. Now during COVID, a lot of us, many of us do outbound training programs with mountaineers and others as well. But you really find the one of the most popular and most kind of business got to Harvard Business School was Mount Everest simulation. Mount Everest simulation, they sold those simulations more than 1 million. 1 million, and it was costing close to about $13 almost per student. But it was interesting. In 5 hours, actually, Mount Everest simulation, you're playing like it's not a video game, actually, it's a simulation. But the way in which you could learn and you could engage in terms of beat teamwork, beat your own role, and how probably you can achieve overall probably goals for the team does make a lot of sense. So my only request to my colleagues and students as well, watch out what is happening in and around. Because sometimes for us to do innovation, be it incremental or radical, it takes time. It is not easy. Here we are struggling sometimes for the bread and butter, how to run the business school the at least best possible way. But somewhere I think it comes free by virtue of the entire tech. Second value creation element, which is very important in terms of research and innovation. How far we are thinking for the futuristic products, pioneering product innovation or process innovation or experience driven innovation or maybe even business model innovation. If you look around in the world or even in the country, I'm sure there are many new probably business model innovations are coming into picture. Are we cognizant of the fact or not? Somewhere deep down, I'm sure we should really work on it, and which actually identify the latent needs. What Shirude sir was mentioning about design thinking. Design thinking is nothing other than, in fact, identifying the latent needs in the marketplace, which sometimes it is not expressed, and with the human-centric approach or user-driven approach from that point of view. So I'm sure this aspect is going to be very important, and this is also being connected with the NEP. And you'll find when we're talking about multidisciplinary, we're talking about scaling point of view, we're talking about a lot of incubation point of view. I'm sure NEP will strengthen this fabric, so we should really take it forward. Third aspect, which is very important, is are we focusing somewhere on the consulting, training? Consulting is not easy. I will definitely admit that it's not easy, but in a smaller way. See, a lot of SMEs need consulting, a lot of MSMEs need consulting, not necessarily consulting. One can give it easily to the big companies, which may be challenging. But I think if you can really take it forward, and if you could really engage students also with respect to addressing the pain points or challenges of the companies or maybe of the society, maybe I'm sure many times you'll find the government of Maharashtra and other governments also come out with competitions. Do we encourage the students to participate with the faculties? I'm sure, I think if you can take it forward, and that consulting maybe to industry, as I mentioned about government, even in peer group as well. Maybe we ourselves started engaging with our own friends that can we do some kind of consulting with the peer group? If you have garnered some knowledge and people are ready to upload that to you, why? We should not really hesitate. And there's quite a good learning curve. My request would be that there's a really good learning curve, and taking it forward is a placement and entrepreneurship, startup, students' point of view. I'm sure if you read any news that XYZ business school in Goa got 50 lakh package, please try to study what are the kind of competencies that student has who got 50 lakh package by Microsoft, maybe by Google, maybe anywhere in the country. Do we do that exercise? See, we need to go that extra mile. We need to really go that extra mile. When I'm saying this, we have a big batch, close to about 840 first year, 840 second year only in Mumbai, not even in Bangalore. But this year, we told our team that the average package, which was about 9.8 lakhs, should go to at least 10.5 plus, 11 plus. But with a very much focus, we could touch at least as on date also 12.2 lakhs. Rural program is normally being picked up as rural program maybe like agriculture and related to your kind of, farms, fields. But this year we could touch 22 lakhs only for rural program as well. So nothing is difficult, nothing is impossible. Everything boils down to design thinking, identify the outcome, work in the reverse engineering way and take it forward. So I'm sure students must keep in mind, you can't just leave it to your director or your placement team. I'm sure they'll be there as an enabler, they'll be there as a facilitator, but you can't give away your future to them. So I'm sure the placement point of view or new areas which are entrepreneurship and startup point of view, hackathons. Government of India now, Ministry of Education conducts hackathon. Hackathon, I'm sure initially it may be difficult, but is it so difficult? I don't think so. We tried our hands almost for last 7 years back. We did first time with MIT in Boston in 2014. Well, gradually we learned. Today probably we felt very nice when we work with the corporates, with the governments, with our global partners, and that is very important. Maybe in terms of encouraging your alumni, do you do some kind of encouraging your alumni as entrepreneurs, or maybe from startup point of view? So they become very handy for you and to take it forward. We also did recently demo day only for alumni and get the venture capitalist funding, angel investors, the entire periphery, which will be helpful for the alumni. Can we do that? I think I'm sure that is possible. And taking it forward with the global partners is also possible. We also talk about in our AIMS discussion as well on not only entrepreneurship but intrapreneurship. Intrapreneur is somebody who joined as an employee but with the entrepreneurial mindset. Is it possible? I'm sure it is possible. It's a question of do we really get forward with that? Technology initiatives, please try to keep in mind the future, not only future, current even. Technology is not really enabler. Technology is a game changer. So how far you develop the technology proficiency. If you look at World Economic Forum skill sets, clearly the skill sets are largely boiled down to one, your self-management. Second, working with groups. So both these skill sets linked with the people management. Third is with respect to technology fluency. And fourth is problem solving. So you'll really find when you look at such kind of skill set for the future, be 2025, be 2030, are we trying to raise the bar there? And I'm sure the directors, faculty colleagues will always help you to raise your bar in terms of those competencies and groom you and to take it forward. And you'll really find in future, technology may, in fact, placement may get stopped to some extent by the leading companies. Companies like DXC is almost $22 billion just about some time back, 2 years back. DXC decided that we'll not go to the campuses, but we will give a problem statement to the students and it will be put in the public cloud, not in private cloud. And you attend the problem and get the money, go ahead. That's the way even Microsoft is looking into it. That's the way many companies globally and people who are actually attending to the problem and solving problems. So you have to deliver the goods. You can't just say that I have written nice paper, I've got 99 percentile marks, but I can't attend or solve the problems. So everything is boiled down to problem solving. So please keep in mind how you can really kind of take it forward. Next one is quality and performance assessment. I'm sure all of us do it for AICT, we do it for NRF rankings, we do it for different NBA, SACs and everything, ACSB even. But how far we do it and create compelling environment for ourselves. Somewhere deep down, just keep in mind whether government tells you to do so or no or not. We must disrupt our own bad practices. I'm sure Sir was mentioning about TVS. Who watch out Toyota all the time, or many global companies. They disrupt their own product on their own, even the product is doing good. So that shows, I think, somewhere we should create that compelling environment. And the other part of this, in fact, mentor-mentee process of AICT is very good. Wherever we feel that we are on the learning curve, we must go to the market or we must go to the people who are doing good, learn from them. And I'm sure many of us also kind of look forward to that. The 7th point is on domestic and international relationships. Students must keep in mind, network is net worth. That has supported me, my institution, and our name is also we changed to WeSchool. We is a new I. So we reinforces I reinforces we. So wherever you get a chance to go to conferences, I'm sure seminars, meeting up with the industry professionals, you should do that always. So those all connects will help you in the long-term point of view. At the same time, wherever, I'm sure for my director friends and faculty colleagues, wherever you see like Fulbright, like Eisenhower fellowships, like those kind of fellowships, if you think any of your faculty colleagues are eligible and if they should apply for, sometimes that global exposure is very, very important, very, very critical. I think, but we need to look out for. It won't happen on its own. It won't happen by kind of fluke. And AIMS events, AIMS always try to give opportunities in terms of roundtables, a lot of other research paper kind of point of view, case studies point of view. There are many symposiums which happen. So you should leverage AIMS to the extent possible. Just being a member and just paying annual fee or life membership fee is not good enough. I'm sure our president, all our RVPs, past presidents are guiding them all the time. So I think we should really take it forward. In fact, DY sir will later on share about HCTP. We are doing leadership development program for the young leaders, age group 30 to 45. Just maybe 6 days program in terms of giving some kind of whatever back to society. The brand development point of view, I'm sure somewhere parallelly we need to look into brand development for our own institutions. And this is a concurrent process. You can't complete one or two and then go for brand development. Doesn't happen that way. That may be our own visibility to our own institutions, our own best practices, whatever, maybe students' achievements, faculty achievements, whatever we can do it, and what are new things which you are doing. Please try to see that you should get a visibility, be it print media, be it social, maybe digital. So that's the name of the game. If your brand is not known, even corporates will not get to know in terms of the recruitment point of view, placement point of view. Somewhere I think you should get down to that. And maybe you may have to engage professional agencies to do that. Sometimes we may be not fit to that extent, but if you're not equipped, I think hire the professionals. Final one is societal contribution. So I'm sure wherever you get a chance to look into build nation building point of view, I'm sure that is the kind of priority we always should inculcate, be it citizen leadership, be it on UN Compact's program on principally responsible management education, PRME kind of programs or whatever. And many of these areas are available. A lot of UN sustainable SDGs point of view, sustainable development goals point of view is available. But somewhere you should decide at a leadership level. I know many directors are here from Bombay, Pune, and other parts of the even state as well, largely, and even from the country. But I think how we can create that competitive edge, I think you should keep in mind. Recently, in fact, we invited one lady. She's scientist. She was in US, came back to in fact India, and she's actually doing her work as a pad woman. She's popular, Maya Vishwakarma. She's doing work in Mehraga in Narsinghpur in MP. Phenomenal kind of passion, phenomenal drive. So wherever you can give exposure to such kind of personalities, very young lady, and she stood for Sarpanch election. Women never goes for this. And in that Gram Panchayat of Mehraga, she put a condition. I'll stand for the election for Sarpanch, but let all women be there as part of my team. All women Gram Panchayat. And believe me, that village, Mehraga, supported. And she's like, the day when we met her in Bombay and she addressed her students, she was next day, I believe she was going to Dubai for fund, generating funds for her own venture. So I think if somebody sitting in MP, Mehraga also could stretch themselves, why not we? And finally, in fact, in this, I'm sure AIMS is also playing great role. But the name of the game here is how do you generate ideas for innovation? So generating ideas for innovation for these 9 value creators, first and foremost, start scanning the environment. Start scanning the environment internally and externally as well. Be it even competitor analysis, be it maybe some of the best practices or industry practices. Sir mentioned about, all 3 of them mentioned about industry practices, and Apurva mentioned about the same. Pick up those practices. There's no harm in picking up the good practices, localize it as per your own needs. I'm sure that is quite possible. From research work, you will get a lot of such kind of insights. Sometimes from the behavior of the competition also we can pick up. Sometimes NEP kind of legislations coming forward, we should use those legislations in a positive way. And after you kind of generate those kind of idea, then strategically select the few from there wherein you think your investment is going to be kind of bit fruitful on the basis of your own wisdom, on the basis of your own hunch. They select the possibly best possible ideas and then taking it forward for the implementation point of view. See, name of the game is walk the talk, not mere ideas. So I think somewhere deep down, when you take it forward, things can be far better. And I'm quite optimistic about the future, seriously, because we have grown from very small institution to decently good institution, and that pays fruits, I'm sure. And my colleagues who are here from the Western region and from AIMS members, they are more than talented, and we can learn from each other and taking it forward. Sorry for taking too much of time, but thank you very much, RVP, for giving me time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Uday. 15, 16 points which you have mentioned. Different aspects were there. Now, I'm not going to repeat these points. Now these points are open for, you have to think, you have to ask the questions, you have to contribute, and therefore this forum is now open. Don't feel shy, particularly the youngsters. And this is the thought before the food. Therefore, you enjoy this thought. Okay? So forum is open, and now those who want to contribute, those who want to ask, your question should be very specific. It should not be in the form of paragraph. It should be specific, and it should be, if you want that somebody is particularly from industries, from academics, who want to answer your question, or you are expecting the answer from whom. So that also you should feel free. Now the stage is that side. Please hand over this mic to those who want to ask the question.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for very informative sessions by all the speakers. My question is pertaining to Dr. Purva Palkar and Uday. Ma'am, you have talked about innovation in teaching, and that is really happening to certain stages. At my places, students are undertaking Coursera, edX, all online certification courses that we can talk about the next level of an innovation in management education. So when we think about innovation, is it really threatening to the existing situations? When we talk about a mass, a slow learner, we need to be with him as a faculty to clear his doubt. But when we ask to the student, a fast learner, advanced learner, I asked some of the students, he said, sir, honestly speaking, no need of a faculty. We get everything online, to be very honest. The programs are designed in such a way that complete engagement, prototype development, assignments, tests, certifications, and everything is mapped with the curriculum. It is over and above the curriculum. So we have a tag with edX, which is offering more than 500 courses to the students. So is this level of innovation in teaching is creating a gap between a slow learner and a fast learner, and how as a faculty we could able to balance that?
We need to look at the edtech providers as a source of inspiration and motivation to a lot of faculties. Point number one, for people to learn, because it is one way of even capacity building for people to know that what works and what doesn't work. A lot of times, you as a director are not able to kind of monitor things in the class, and that's not expected to be in the classroom. But I think that's one part which I would like to say. Second important thing that I don't think it's a threat. This is one. Second piece that I would like to say is that though there are online MOOCs and providers of the best-in-class faculties, maybe from Wharton or Harvard or whatever teaching, but what really is not there in the system, and which is what the business schools can bring into the innovation perspective, is the piece of practice. The piece of practice is not what can come online. So this is where I also mentioned in my speech the use cases. So maybe sometimes it is just a case study method, but that's not what will work, which is what we are trying to profess and talk of even in my new university, is the ability to do on the job by heat study. So actual hands-on. So can we bring in a 30 or a 40 hours of work practice in the classroom is what will be the differentiator for future. So we need to supplement and support whatever is existing with the new thought, and that's what is innovation all about. Just carry that forward as something that is going to stimulate and that's going to take you to the next level. So someone else is doing that work. Just use it to the benefit of your organization.
Yeah, I think what we must keep in mind, whatever is happening, that innovation what you're talking about, it happens to the good. If we need to shut down our shops, we need to shut down our shops. If global majors, tech companies, if they raise their bar and they offer something which is so good that students don't need you to be in the classroom, fair enough. But then the onus is on us how we can raise the bar by doing research, by thinking of not only best practices but next practices. I'm sure there are many who's heading the global business schools. Look at the Shrikant Datta. He's Indian, right? You look at across the world, they are from our breed only. So only here, if we happen to be in comfort zone, we need to come out of the comfort zone. Sometimes maybe that may lead to shutting down many business schools. Let it be. At least if there are instead of 4,000, if there are 3,000, but that if the 3,000 are good, fair enough. You can't control the market forces. So from that angle. The other aspect which you said that the digital divide between the fast learners and slow learners is definitely increased. The digital divide is overall also increasing in the marketplace, in the society as well. But what is our responsibility when I was talking about big nation building from societal point of view? I'm sure we all must focus on those slow learners as well. Or sometimes some students come from rural areas, remote areas, and official areas, and they may not be from English medium even. But even though they're not from English medium, they're from maybe Marathi, Gujarati, Hindi, whichever medium, doesn't matter. I think we need to give quite a bit of support to those students who are coming out with some kind of, special abilities or so. I think that's our responsibility. So you can't really help if that happens.
I'm not sure this question is particularly relevant, but the suggestion, we have a distinguished panelists, all have a lot of experience. The crux of the problem is not in the ideas. Ideas are necessary. The crux of the problem is change management. Change management is very important. And people don't talk about what problems they face and so on. And all that. I know Uday has done a lot of change, and even Purva. So you have to distinguish between private sector, corporate sector, where maybe a little bit easier, but not 100%. People think in corporate sector you can hire and fire. That doesn't happen easily. So corporate sector, you talk of public sector, you talk of private universities, private institutions, and change management is the crux. And my professor at Carnegie Mellon used to say, if you want to change anything in a university, it's better to start a new university. So, and we retired people can talk about it, but I have a feeling those who are in don't want to talk about their experiences, what problems they face. I don't know, maybe they don't want to, they think it will go spread to the institute or not, but I want to suggest, I can see Shekhar now talks about all the problems he faces. I am Calcutta, but when he was director, I don't know if he would have talked about that. When I was director, I don't know if he would have talked, but now I can talk about it. I don't know, but it's something that I think the aim should take it. That's the problem, change management. And I have a final conclusion. Any good idea can be made to look bad, the bad implementation.
I'm Professor Suhas Pednekar, former Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai. First of all, let me congratulate for selecting this topic, which is very relevant. Instead of a question, I have a suggestion to make. I think time has come for all of us to do things differently. So my first suggestion is when these types of topics being organized or arranged, and if suppose the students are attending, I think the future of the country belongs to those who are sitting on the back side. So can we start allowing students to take the front seats? We should be sitting on the back, giving them assurance that we are being here. And this can be a practice which I started to some extent in University of Mumbai. My second suggestion is, can AIMS organize such roundtable conferences sometimes involving students rather than we teachers sitting on the desk, and asking them to come prepared with what they think about current education, future challenges, what they expect from teaching community. That will in fact also give them opportunity to do some homework and come. And they should be asking questions to ourselves. We'll be sitting there and give the whole charge to students And this is how I think the time has come. We need to even do things with some innovations. Thank you.
In fact, what you suggested is really good. In fact, some of our panels, we can have actually student representatives to be on the panel, and some programs can be exclusively for the students. That's possible, and I must mention what you said is so true. Even in World Communication Forum, in the same hall of Davos in Switzerland, in fact, they started doing this. The white card entry, in fact, they get the students to be on the panel. That's wonderful suggestion to us. But you are suggesting the faculty should be behind, right? They will follow us.
Sitting in the front or back actually doesn't make too much of a difference. I mean, just to add to what, there was a time before leaving the armed forces, I did a small 6 months executive MBA kind of a program. The biggest challenge which I had was how to fight sleep, nothing else. I sailed through the MBA, I topped it, but the biggest issue was how to fall. I mean, fighting how to fall asleep. Front, back, doesn't matter. As far as innovations or ideas which we're talking about, Mr. Suhas and others also, what is essential is try to look at things beyond whatever are. They do not accept status quo. The day you start accepting status quo, you are not going to move. That's all.
Stand here because I want to see all the knowledge gurus sitting on the dais. Yeah, thank you so much. Sir, am I permissible to share some of our practices at our institute, and then I can come up with a question? Is that permissible? Okay. Okay. So first of all, the concept innovation came in the year 1883 by Joseph Schumpeter, and we are following since 1883. And as we saw in the first slide of Apurva Pankar ma'am, that is innovation a fact? Yes, innovation is possible if we have the right eye for eye. And that is only possible if we have that kind of visionary leader with us. And very importantly, I would like to share with a profound privilege that we received Innovation Academic Leader Award. And I am working as a professor in the capacity of a professor at Dr. D.Y. Patil WeSchool. And we received this award based on C's. So Shirude sir today started with C's, and he said the most important C is collaboration, and collaboration is only possible with complementary skills. And based on complementary skills, there are just 3 practices I would like to share before coming to the question. That keeping in mind the complementary skills, our leader, Dr. Amol Gawande, under the prominent leadership of Dr. Somnath Patil, came up with 3 C's. That is focusing more on multidisciplinary courses, on dance, music, drama, photography, and so on. Not only that, we have created a cohort for music, wherein our faculty, music faculty, he has qualified Trinity College of London Music Examination Certificate, and now our students also appearing for that certification course from Trinity College of London. And it is mandatory to opt one of the multidisciplinary course. That is the practice which we have started. Second very important thing is that what you all have said about the project. So we had started with the best practice of experiential real-time projects in collaboration with world most renowned tech company, US-based company, that is CapSource. And just to enrich the employability skills of these students. And very importantly, we also came up with dual specialization with disruptive innovation this year. Apart from that, very importantly, we have also started with a course, Learning Management Principles through Bhagavad Gita. So these are some of the practices. And now I would like to come up with a question, very importantly, very curious to know, as you all agreed that project, that internship should be well structured. So I would like to ask from the panelists that what should be the right approach before our students going to the, approaching the company or going to the company, different corporates for internship. So what we need to do to bring up more structured internship, because generally students just go to the company, they complete, that duration, and they prepare the project report and clear the viva voce and get the marks. But that really don't help in enriching the employability skills. So what should be the right approach? Would like to know from the panelists. Thank you.
I appreciate whatever innovation you are doing in your institute. And coming to internship, I think it needs to be an industry problem. And the best person who can define that problem is the manager who is facing the problem. So I think this started about 20 years back. We are getting about 10 to 15 interns from Purdue University from US every year. And it was only 3 weeks. How to get the best out of them in 3 weeks? So that was a challenge. Then they had a format called Project Charter. So all that is captured. So we used to get that prepared by our managers, send it to Purdue. Then they used to publish it, and then students used to apply. Then after students choosing, then the project and the students were selected. And 2 months before, we used to assign a mentor in the company who will give all the data and to understand the problem better than the students do the literature survey. And then when they come here for 3 weeks, they already digested the problem and they have done literature survey. In 3 weeks time, they sit with the manager who decide the scope within 3 weeks what they can deliver. In about 3-4 years time, we were able to get a lot of things done within 3 weeks. This required a lot of preparation. Now, based on this experience, we extended this to the engineering students in the country. Every year, we get about 40 to 50 interns from about 20 institutions in the country. We make managers to give a bid for interns by submitting a project charter. Then we select students in the institutions based on the passion for engineering. So we don't look at the marks. We look at only the people who are into co-curricular and extracurricular or hobby projects, not people pursuing engineering for the sake of parents. Then we select them through a 2-day selection process. Then we match the project and this one. And then about 8 weeks, they come and do the project. At the end of it, we have a review with the IIT or IASC professors. And then best of them, about 20-25, they carry a pre-placement offer. So we have to design a process for this. It's not just an internship. It's internship must be a well thought out process partnered between the industry and the academy. Then there must be one faculty who is also looking at what skills they are supposed to carry to implement the project. The ultimately project is about synthesizing multiple disciplines that they have studied over 2 years. I think if the faculty need to guide them, what domains need to be applied in that thing, what tools are required. I think if the students are also prepared better to deal with that kind of a project, then it will be very successful. Over time, if the industry find that your students are able to add significant value, you will get more demand for your students, right? So and then in between internship also you can have a joint review between the manager and the faculty. I think we need to evolve a process like this to make that more effective. That's my suggestion.
I will take a possibility to address. Whenever we look for a candidate or a senior or middle position, we evaluate on 4 parameters: basically education, skills, training, and experience. So generally, these fresh students, we do not expect them to be experienced, but the training is definitely possible, as you correctly mentioned, because so far we have been talking about the methodology of business schools. So the innovations, what we are talking about, the virtual learning or e-learning or distant learning, cloud usage of cloud, etc. But that is innovation by the IT industry or technology, which is benefiting the education sector to provide distant learning. But when it comes to innovation, you rightly asked, what we expect is a student should be competent to join a company or to become an entrepreneur or to become a leader. And this competence is measured by not only by education and classroom training, because we don't believe that classroom training is a training. And he will also agree with me. We don't treat classroom training as a training, it is still education. Even virtual, some case studies and other things which are practiced, they are also prefabricated. So they really don't experience the real life problems or real life challenges to face. And that is why there are companies like we have a Gurukul training center in our company. It takes care of right from the ITI to engineers or MBAs. Being manufacturing sector or manufacturing plant, we have very few business graduates. But this can be available in other companies where they have Gurukul kind of system for business graduates. So I think this is something I will really see the innovation in the business schools that add the training to the education. I'll give one sentence which is a little disturbing, but this sentence we used to talk 30 years back when we went on the journey of quality management system. So what is the difference between education and training? Can any of the students tell what is the difference between education and training? Yeah. So we have on-job training and other things, but one sentence, please don't mind. We are from metal cutting industry. We can educate our daughter in sex, but we cannot train our daughter in sex. That gives very clear understanding of education and training. If this kind of training is included in the curriculum of business schools, they will be successful leaders, that I'm sure of.
Thank you, Bhushanji. Now, one more question is there, and students should raise the hand, and language is not the barrier. You can ask in Marathi, you can ask in Hindi also, but we are expecting that the students participate. Sir, please.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Dr. Arpit Trivedi. Sir, I'm getting a feeling that innovation these days is too structured, too systematic, too symbolic, and somewhere it is pulling creativity down. Your opinion. Thank you.
Anybody?
I think, yeah, any question don't have one answer. I think if you accept that there are multiple answers to any question, then innovation can come. Suppose if you have a question bank and if you have an answer key for an assessment, I think people will stop thinking. I think we need to look at now. That's where the new education policy looking at now the higher order skills. I think even the Bloom's taxonomy, if you look at now apply, analyze, evaluate, and all that, requires creativity and innovation. I think we need to look at now how to focus education to look at possibilities. I think it's not one answer for a question. There will be multiple answers. Only our perspective and background of that domain and tools will give you the idea to think. I think if that foundation is weak, if I know engineering in depth, I'll be able to develop many solutions for a given function. Otherwise, no, I'll only know, I would have seen one model, I would have produced only that particular solution. We used to have this problem in our company, but with a lot of further education and research, I think today people are able to come up with multiple ideas. I think that's what we need to answer.
But just like to add to what Dr. Puri said, structure may be required, sir, for showing the path. But while walking the path, it's up to you whether you want to walk, whether you want to crawl, whether you want to run. Please use your innovativeness or your ingenuity to create your path and do whatever you wish. Feel free. And that freedom needs to be given for anything. As I said, whether it should be smooth or the fact that look at yourself first. Give that freedom to yourself. Yes, but the regulations or the structure is required because I can show you the path. Because that's been tested for so long. It helps, definitely. But don't be bonded by it. So don't be bonded by it. Don't be held down by it. Does that answer your question? Sorry. Okay.
Good afternoon, panel. I am Shalendra Kade from Global Business School, Department Vidyapit, Pune. Sir, Koi sir has given us not many things about the TPM, retainment, implement, all those things. Continuing with that, my director, Dr. Chetan Chaudhary, who is the AIMS Pune chapter also, asked me the question that can we implement Six Sigma in education? Answer is yes. The same questions I like to ask you to Koi sir. All these systems like Kano cycle, Kano model, TPM, how to rope in these things into the education?
In the respective subject courses, you need to look at what are the tools that you are going to use. I think if you look at Canon model, I think if you are teaching marketing, then how do you really look at the attractive quality or must-be quality? Then how they can actually have an experiential learning. I think you can take a hypothetical product or service and then go to the target group of customers and then do the conversation. And think many times what happens, it's not just asking questions, it's observing the customers and what they do and why they need a product or a solution. And then understanding that, and then sometimes it could be a questionnaire based or it can be a focus group based. There can be multiple tools. Then you come back with the image data or language data. Then how do you process that and how do you create that? What is attractive quality? What is must be quality? So whatever competition offers today, that's a must be quality. You can't go below that. But what they don't, the current products don't offer something which is very different. Then how do you determine that? That is another issue. I think that comes only by understanding the customers better, their environment better, their usage better. I think that's what you need to embed in your curriculum. It should be a more of a field work, not happens in the college itself. I think that's what we need to do. That like that now Six Sigma. You can look at now some problem solving. I think even in internship they can. Then you have to teach the concepts of Six Sigma in your course. Then they have to do some action learning based on that. I think unless otherwise now you have a lecture, tutorial or action learning, I think it's a combination of things you need to adapt and only they acquire the required skills and competencies. It's not just theoretical knowledge. Unless I think swimming cannot be taught in a classroom. They have to get into the physical.
Hello, I am Professor Vikramande from GLVS Institute of Management. I would like to thank Moonje Institute and AIMS for organizing this event. And special thanks to the Mumbai University. They have organized a new ideas for hackathon for conducting the innovation program. My question to industry people as well as academics that how industry 4.0 and industry 5.0, how academics can collaborate, because industry 5.0 is working on cost and society, whereas industry 4.0 is focusing on technology and new change. How to imbibe that new change? So please, that is my question.
I think companies are implementing a lot of the industry 4.0 projects, a lot of IoT and data science and MLA on all that. But you can teach those subjects, but again, internship or project, they need to connect with the industry. I think any of this, no, only by partnering with the industry, because they are practicing it, right? You are teaching it. Then we need to really align what is taught and what is practiced together. So the best opportunity is doing an internship in that area. Then by that now they know how it is applied in the industry. And then they can acquire the skills. I think when they do actually the real life project or internship, then they are able to acquire those competencies. And then they can do a project. Suppose one more thing, if they do learn certain electives and learn something in the internship, and they do a final project, also they align it. See, ultimately you have to get, as I told you, it's not about the width, it's about the depth. How do you really orient your students to get into depth? So you may have courses, but they must have specialized into certain depth of certain area. How do you really guide your students to choose that kind of a collection of courses and internship and project? Like by aligning all that, now they get a deeper expertise in a particular.
Well, now, any question from the students? Yeah, please. 1 minute.
Sir, I'm Shirude from Dr. Moonje Institute. Sir, I have one question that what do you think about a management student's future in India?
A very good question.
Please. Whether you are at home or you are working somewhere, or whether you are with your friends, what do you think you are doing? Aren't you managing? We are managing everywhere. As far as business schools are concerned and management students are concerned, what it gives you is a leverage to go have those couple of steps more than maybe a graduate in some other, profession or some other field. This allows you to look at things a little different. So after having done your management studies, what we are expected to do is maybe create something new of your own. If you have to create something of your own, there is no limitation. There is no limitation. You don't have to be limited by going to a particular corporate and working for them. No. Once a management student, you are able to manage just about anything and everything. So go ahead, do something on your own. That's why I would look at it. Thank you.
Yes. In your name itself is yes. Why are you worried about otherwise? Success, right? कर ले दुनिया मुट्ठी में. And you should take charge of your future. You should not be dependent. Irrespective whether you are with Moonje Institute or with Wellington or any other business school. When students take charge of the future without leaving his future in the hands of only faculties and others as well, then I think you are going to achieve breakthrough all the time. Don't worry about it. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. Okay.
Maybe I just add, how to take charge of yourself. So if you take this building, how many floors are there?
2. Ground and 1.
Ground on 1. So how does it stand? So much of weight. What is required to make it?
Pillars.
Strong foundation, right? Anchor. I think your career needs an anchor. I think you need to figure out what is the anchor for your career. So it could be coming from your undergraduate degree or it can come from your management. Ultimately, it's an accumulated. How are you focusing to build that anchor on which you can build multiple floors? I think you need to figure out now what is your anchor. Thank you.
Now, if more time is to discuss more at the time of lunch, so you will have more freedom also, and you can also feel that some personal dialogue which you can establish with the speakers, with the deans, directors, those who are sitting here, vice chancellors from the different universities. Now I call upon Dr. Shubhangi Ramaswamy, Vice Chairperson, Pune chapter, and the Director of Marathwada Mitramandal Management Institute.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, and Dr. Shubhangi Ramaswamy, representing Pune chapter AIMS. First of all, I would like to thank AIM for providing this opportunity of proposing vote of thanks to such a wonderful event. It's truly honor that we are a part of this wonderful deliberations from long back. Just to begin with, it's an honor basically to provide and express our sincere gratitude towards all the eminent speakers present over here. On behalf of AIMS, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the eminent speakers. Dr. R. Nandagopal, President AIMS, Director General Sree Saraswathi Thyagaraja College, Pollachi, for updating about AIM and its contribution in development of management education. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable guidance. Further, my special thanks to Sree Delegates, sir, Secretary General, CHMS Society and Moonje Institute, for orienting us about the institute and the legacy of Indian management system. Moving ahead, it is a privilege to acknowledge the guidance of Dr. G.K. Shirude, sir, RVP West, and Vice Chancellor Sree Balaji University, Pune. Thank you so much, sir, for providing such a thought-provoking address on emphasizing on constructive changes, then design thinking, and the 5 C's which are necessity for leading innovation. Our sincere thanks to Professor Dr. Uday Salunkhe, sir, past President AIMS and Group Director WeSchool Mumbai, for his insights on which really made us to think, are we really in need of implementation of change? and innovation. Sir, Sir has given us a fair idea about our global position in respect of innovation and many more thought-provoking things like value creation. Thank you so much, sir. We will take it forward. Then, special thanks to Mr. Bhushan Patwardhan, VP at MSL Driveline System, for creating a awareness about what exactly we manage. We manage people, we manage moral, and we manage environment. So, sir has given us the complete idea that how we should be human-centric when we lead any change and innovation. Further, I would like to thank Commander Santosh Kulkarni sir for bringing energy to the entire deliberations and also guiding us on the different perspective of innovation. What is it innovation is? It is all about bringing it about and bringing it forth. Thank you so much, sir. We will remember your valuable words. Then my special thanks to Dr. V. Kovi Chellan, Director, TVS Institute of Quality Leadership, Hosur, for his insights and wonderful presentation on TQM, TPM, lean practices, and the 3 practices of management: retention, improvement, and breakthrough. Further, moving ahead, I would also like to thank our Dr. Apurva Palkar Madam, past President AIMS and Vice Chancellor of Maharashtra State Skill University, Mumbai, for her wonderful presentation, which really made us to think about, is innovation fad or it is a necessity? And also, Madam asked us to bring, specifically to the faculty members, she urged to bring a new change, that learner-centric approach. Further, we also acknowledge the presence of Dr. Parag Kalkar sir, Treasurer, AIMS Executive Board, Dean Faculty of Commerce and Management, SPPPU, and Director, SDS Pune. Our special thanks to Dr. Preeti Kulkarni Madam, Director, Dr. Moonje Institute of Management and Computer Studies, and the entire team of Dr. Moonje Institute for their wholehearted support and putting untiring efforts for organizing such an insightful event. I am grateful to all the executive board members of AIMS, past presidents and office bearers of AIMS for providing such a great opportunity for exchange of our knowledge and thoughts. Last but not the least, I thank all the participants, deans and directors of various institutes for sparing their valuable time for this day-long deliberation and making this event as a grand success. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Please stay.
Thank you all. We can now
Recording stopped.
Like I officially announced that the session is over, we can all